Quantitative easing is a controversial measure that has split both the business community and economic opinion. It's been tried by a number of central banks and is increasingly going to be in the future. Central bankers have a favourite joke, which is, what do you get when you cross a central banker with the Godfather, someone who makes you an offer you can't understand? Different analyses have produced different evaluations of the effects of quantitative easing. The economist David Blanchflower has said that quantitative easing has reduced unemployment and increased growth, and that if the British government had not engaged in it, then unemployment would have peaked at 16%. Keynesian economists generally agree with the scheme. On the other hand, some have said that this increase in the money supply has increased inflation as it pushes up the costs of assets. While this has been to the benefit of the very wealthy who have seen their wealth increase, it hasn't been helpful to the people who lost their homes or didn't have assets to begin with. Some central bankers in the United States have criticized the Federal Reserve for its $2.3 trillion program because it has distracted them from adopting measures to help these people. Others have argued that this increase in inflation has reduced demand. People who have retired or are soon to be retired have reduced their consumption and increased their savings so they can maintain the incomes that they thought they were going to get in old age before inflation. This reduces aggregate demand and helps to contract the economy. Economists such as Paul Krugman disagree, saying that the economy had stalled during the Great Recession, and policies such as money printing for asset purchases had helped bring it back to life. In Japan, the Bank of Japan had played with the idea of introducing a radical program of quantitative easing back in the early 2000s when it had been going through its own recession, but it quickly abandoned the idea as it had never been tried and they were scared of runaway inflation. While quantitative easing has been linked to higher inflation, recent inflation has been blamed more on the spike in oil prices that accompanied the fear that the Iranian government was about to close the Strait of Hormuz. It has also been blamed on the deregulation of speculation in the commodity market. Whether quantitative easing translates into inflation or growth, it is probably here to stay. Under the governorship of the Canadian Mark Carney, the Bank of England has been entrusted with more responsibilities as government spending has decreased. In America, while some are worried about the liabilities now held by the Federal Reserve, it has also declared it to have been moderately successful. At the European Central Bank, the new president, Mario Draghi, has said that he will do anything it takes to save the euro, presumably including large-scale quantitative easing. The new governor of the Bank of Japan has also announced a large quantitative easing program worth $1.4 trillion to try and end a decade of deflation and low growth. Whether or not it will prove to be successful may be disputed, but as Western economies have stalled, central bankers are focused on getting growth, and have put all their money on the success of QE.